Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Random Chicken Files. It's Sunday, the 20th of May 2018, and this afternoon on this beautiful, gorgeous weather day, we are at Apley Woods. There's several entrances to the place. It's public access. It's an amazing place. I came from that direction. Back there is Montgomery Spa, and yeah, on a day like today, Montgomery Spa is a nice little, decent spot to pick up some refreshments, to be out and about, to come into here. So, this sign tells you a bit about Apley Woods. This map and guide are designed to help you find your way around Apley Woods, giving an idea of some of the area's historic features, points of interest and suggested walk routes. With its 56 acres of meadows, pools, trees and winding footpaths, Apley Castle and its woods are a fine example of a 19th century landscaped woodland. Records mention woodland on this site as far back as 1300. However, the present woods were largely created during the last 200 years as part of the ornamental gardens to the Georgian Manor House built in 1792 and demolished in 1955. The woodland's historical interest and rich diversity make it extremely valuable. Many of the species of wildlife to be found in Apley Woods, especially some of the birds and bats, are of ecological importance. The original Apley Castle still stands today, adjacent to the west side of Apley Woods. Built around 1270, the castle is a Grade II listed and has its own chapel, Great Hall, and was once surrounded by its own moat. It was renovated in 1996 and is now 8 privately owned properties. Located in the heart of a woodland is a very unusual carved stone sculpture called Energy Rising. It's believed to symbolise lava emerging from the earth. Look out for the stone carved armchairs near to where the Georgian Manor once stood. With that Energy Rising sculpture, we'll try and see it later on, but I used to come here quite a lot. As a kid, my family is a day out, and I'd often find that sculpture. Never knew what it meant, because I wasn't, at the time, never assigned to explain it, but yeah, I found that sculpture fascinating. The site of the Georgian Manor House. This magnificent Georgian Manor House was the centrepiece of a 900-acre estate with its grand gardens and vistas. The clay to make the bricks were dug from nearby Apley Pool. Sadly, it became too expensive to maintain, and on 18th November 1955, the entire house was dismantled and sold off. Look up and around for the amazing sculptures of woodland art, which include birds of prey and woodland animals. Some may be higher than you think. Some of Apley's finest specimen trees can be found on our tree trail. There are 10 in total. See if you can spot them all. Okay. And here's a map of Apley Wood. Everything. Code. Different routes. Now, I recommend anyone definitely when you come to Telford, drop by here. As I just said, it's close to Montgomery. Down that path, that goes round the edge of Apley Wood, around the outside perimeter, and if you go along that path far enough, you'll encounter Princess Royal Hospital, and which has a couple of gates and fences connect the back of Princess Royal Hospital to here. But anyway, let's explore. And yes, Okay, inside Apley Woods there's a footpath to explore going that way. And there's another one going that way. Now although on the map we just saw you can follow one of various routes, you can also make it up as you go along. I'm on my bike at the moment, so we'll be going straight ahead and showing some of the routes. There's a little bit over here. Let's dismount my bike, shall we? This video may be a bit of a long video because it'd be nice to explore. For the most part, be sticking to the main path, but like now, diverting off to the sides. I think it's been a couple of years or so since I last came to Apley Wood or passed through. Now, as you can imagine, when you're a kid, seeing trees like this, you just gotta climb them, haven't you? This is a proper Adventureland. This must be one of the special tree signposts. Birch, which must be this one here. And you got a little bird box up there. When I was a kid, never really that much interested in wildlife and nature. Hello. Yeah, when I was a kid and teenager, I was always interested in stuff like science fiction and adventure and stuff like that, but never really paid attention to local history or local wildlife. Looking back, a bit of a regret, but good thing this place still exists. Here's an example of the local wood art. Now, when I was a kid, a teenager, this wasn't here. It must have been a proper tree here, but really good to see stuff like this going on. It's the detail in that is just beautiful and amazing. I think when it comes to art and sculpture and like wood art, this kind of thing is proper art. Making use of local materials. Hiding in the trees, the owls are watching. Must have a... I hope there's a few wood art sculptures up in the trees. Be really nice to spot some of them. Right. Apley. The picture shows the new wing built by St John Chiverton, Charlton in the mid-1800s. Now all that remains are the foundations hidden by the grass and the silver birch trees. It's going to be difficult to read, some of it is faded. Dear reader, delving into the past history of famous families and their ancestral homes can be great fun. The more I've looked, the more I've found. The Apley estate lies 1.25 miles from Wellington. It was the ancestral home of the Charlton family, descendants of the kings and princes of Powys. In its heyday, the Apley estate was truly magnificent. A long drive led from the house to Wellington, passing through ornamental gardens, woodland and pastures where the cattle grazed. It was the perfect setting for a grand house. One wing of the house contained the chief apartments where the master and lady lived. Amongst these apartments were dining rooms, drawing rooms, bedrooms and a library. No estate would have been complete without the kitchen gardens. Here the gardeners grew fresh fruit and vegetables. The walled garden can still be seen today. As you stroll around the estate, look for snippets of history left behind. They may even tell you a few secrets. So yeah, that's a picture of the Apley estate as it used to look. Next up, a little area in front of you. This must be the site itself, the castle, not the castle, the estate. Just pull my bike here for a minute. These are the 4 chairs that I mentioned earlier on, and it's a beautiful little section here. When I was here with my siblings as a kid, we used to love running around this area and just going on the various seats and having fun. Here's the same spot but from the other side. Just step forward a bit and yeah. Beautiful down here. It's a really cute, really beautiful view that is. And over there is Apley Pool. A lot of people go fishing there, so yeah. Just gonna follow the path this way now. Another example of the wood art in the area. These owls are beautiful. You might consider it a bit of a treasure quest, walking around here, looking for the various places that all the sculptures are. Just gonna walk over here for a bit. More information signs. Notice board with like local information, activities that the Friends of Apley Woods are doing in the area. Various other things. This sign here tells you the same information as we saw on the original sign at the start. And if you happen to have a smartphone as well, you got this little thing going on. So yeah, another look at the map. And if we walk steadily over here, this is another entry point into Apley Woods. And these are all the private houses and everything that the Apley estate has now been transformed into. We'll come back through here in a few minutes. Until then, let's explore another section. Okay, just return to this section here. But we got here by following this path here. And nice way to connect the dots. Doing this because this is where we're gonna find something interesting. Stop in here, turn to the left, and what is that? This is that lava statue that we saw mentioned earlier. When I was a kid, I'd come by here, and from this angle, could have sworn it represented some kind of creature, monster or something. Because to me, that from this angle, that's rather face-like creatures. Face-like features, I meant. Yeah. Of course, without any further information, I was never sure, but it does look like some kind of monster, doesn't it? Even though now I know it represents lava coming out the ground, and I can imagine, yeah, it does have that look about it. All the same though, I'm still stuck with my original interpretation of it looking monster-like. Right. That path there leads back to the private houses we saw a few minutes ago. What about up this way? Let's go this way. Right, this path here, if you were to go in that direction, that will basically follow this path round. That will take you back to where we were at the start of this video, and eventually back to Ligomri Spa. That in front of us is Princess Royal Hospital, and just want to do a distraction side note here. Obviously I don't want anyone to end up in hospital for any reason whatsoever. But I know, that said, sometimes it's inevitable. Okay? This path here takes you onto the grounds of Princess Royal Hospital. And that is the maternity wing. car park, Princess Royal. We're basically at the rear entrance to the hospital. So if you're here at the maternity ward having given birth to your beautiful child, or you're visiting someone who has done, then if you want to, if it's all good to do so, just come out to this car park, come back to this path, and you've got a nature reserve right on your doorstep, so you can come out and about, get some fresh air for a few minutes. And I should mention well that this path here, if you follow it all the way around, then that'll take you eventually to Dot Hill. So we come back in here. And here's another example of So we're back at this point here. Some more information. Dear reader, over the past few days I've been clearing out the attic. It's amazing what finds its way up there. My latest discovery was a pile of dusty old leather-bound books. One of these books tells the story of the Apley estate, a tale of civil war, family tragedies, and splendid lifestyles. For hundreds of years, Apley estate was home to one of the most famous families in Shropshire, the Charltons. The first house on the estate was owned by Alan de Charlton. In 1327, he received permission from the king to embattle and fortify his house. In the late 1500s, the house was dismantled and a second house was built. During the Civil War, the new house was to be the scene of divided family loyalties and violent clashes between royalists and parliamentarians. Many who died were buried nearby. By the late 1700s, the Charlton home was in a state of disrepair. By 1791, plans were signed for a new Georgian-style house to be built on the Apley estate. The previous house was converted into stables and outhouses. The remains of these buildings can still be seen today. The last house was demolished in 1956, ending a splendid era and the reign of the Charlton family on the Apley estate. That sign sits down this road and this little pathway here. Let's explore it. In the autumn months, like late September, October time, this is one of the most beautiful paths to walk along. Probably one of my favourite parts of Apley Wood. We're now back at the start of where we were earlier. So let's go this way.